Hey everybody, this is Ed Dose at St.Vitus Studios, and today we have Christian Lawrence coming from back east, and we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I think we got it all settled out now. So as long as we can get the ADD situated right in one spot, I think we got it covered.
Is it ADD or OCD? I don't know. You could just
way.
call me. No, Ed, you could just call me Opus, bro. That's my nickname. My mother even calls me that. It's all good.
Good.
It's easier and it's all good.
Okay. So Opus, I want you to tell us a little bit about how you started in music and animal and how
You're looking at him.
How you got into it, what woke you up to it, and what kept you going in it.
Funny you said woke me up because I'm drinking coffee. And yeah, it was right there. You just saw it. That's what got me started drums right here. Animal.
Nice.
That's one of them. But anyway, no, that's not really the main reason, but he's definitely an influence, I will tell you.
Oh, yeah.
And I have him tattooed on me too, which is pretty funny.
Awesome.
Hey, how do you like that new Earth shirt? You like that?
I do. I like that.
Ooh, yeah. You can get yours for simply $20 online.
Nice.
Just hit me up.
Nice.
Ed, we were talking earlier, and I gotta get this out of the way before I tell you my story. What you're asking me, you
Sure.
look like the dude. You look like the dude from Roadhouse. The
Sam
badass the badass that kicked everyone's butt. That Patrick Swayze looked up to, who came in and cleaned house. He ended up dying at the end, which sucks, but he was awesome. So I just want you to know that, man.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when you said that, and the guy's name is Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott with a badass CBGB shirt, which I've played several times, and I'm lucky enough to say that. But anyway, my story goes like this. It's pretty simple. Growing up, Wendy, I can't take that. You're gonna have to handle that. I'm sorry. Sorry about that, Ed. You got people at my door. I don't know what's going on. It's chaos. It's chaos over here, I tell you. So growing up, I was sort of like this, I want to say chubby kid, not really that cool. I don't want to say bullied, but I've been through my share of stuff as a kid, and everyone does. And I was the bullier at the time, sometimes as well. Well, I learned my lesson hard that way. But I was in a school where the older guys, like I don't want to say the hoods, but like the musicians and the cool cats and like the kind of, some of them played sports, but most of them were like like they would consider them hoods.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes now or later?
Later. Thank you, Wendy. A buddy of mine, the bass player, ended up playing bass for Earth, the Black Sabbath tribute band that I'm in, which is full circle, because he started like sort of, he was one of my mentors. Well, he got me out in the woods. I tried pot for the first time, and instead of sucking it in, I actually blew it out, which was really hilarious. He was so pissed at me, but and we started like messing around with music, and I saw Kiss for the first time. My older brother actually gave me some albums that he bought, and he didn't want to do anymore. He didn't want to. He liked punk rock. He didn't really want to listen to it anymore, and he kind of just passed them on to me. And he moved on to other things and punk and hardcore. And so he gave me like these AC/DC album, and he gave me a Kiss album, and he gave me I think it was Black Sabbath. He gave me or Ozzy, and he gave me a bunch of these albums. And I was like, I don't know, at the time, 12, maybe 10, 11, 12. And I heard God of Thunder for the first time. And I was like, you know what? This is badass. And I just started listening, and I started loving it. And then I met another kid in school who was pinnacle in my career. A guy who his name was Dave Holloway in high school, but he changed it to Kai Blackwood. And he also played in one of my first bands called Violent Industry, who now lives in LA. He's a movie producer, and he actually played in a Metallica tribute band with me for a long time, along with Ron Celentano, Ron Zombie, and Ross Ragusa, who moved on later on to play with Dead by Wednesday, in a Metallica tribute called Alcoholica. And we did really well for a long time, and we toured all over, and we played all the Metallica stuff. And Kai Blackwood used to play drums in middle school, and he wanted to move on to become a frontman and be more like Hetfield at the time, sing and play guitar. So he wanted to learn how to play guitar. And so he's sort of like, I was watching him play drums, and I'm like, wow, you're a really amazing drummer. And he's like, oh, you could do this, man. And so I started messing around with the drums, and I really started to fall in love with it. And he sort of like was like trying to push me to do it because he wanted me to drum, and he wanted to play guitar and sing.
Right.
And so all these different people, like Eric from the Earth Sabbath tribute, who was older, and he was like, one of the guys that like went from, made me from being like this, like, chubby, nerdy kid to like being one of the cool kids who played in the band, and helped me kind of along the way. Him and Kai, and we all like started playing music together, and like in like middle school, high school. And so I started falling in love with music. But I also, when I first heard the, Kiss and Back in Black, and like just Blizzard of Oz and these albums, I was like, I want to try to do, this is what I want to do. And it was a lot of mystery around all that stuff. There wasn't the internet. There was,
Right.
more of like, what the hell is this all about? And so that led me to my journey. Now I wanted to play drums. My parents didn't want me to at the time. I had a stepfather, and my dad wasn't around. I didn't meet him until I was 30. He left when I was like 2. He lives in Italy. That's where I was born, in Rome. And all this stuff's going to be in my book too, Ed. I'll talk about that too later. Some crazy stories. But basically when I saw Kiss, and then I wanted to buy a drum set, my mother's like, hell no. And I was like, well, what? I want to play music. And she's like, well, you could try out the cello. And I was like, the cello? So I took lessons for a while, and mysteriously every week the cello would come home broken.
Yeah.
So I was like, screw this thing. And then finally I saw a orange sparkly Japanese made piece of crap drum set on the side of the road in Sachem's Head at a tag sale where I grew up in Guilford, Connecticut. And I was like, okay, I want to buy this thing. But I was like, I think it was only like $30 or something.
Wow.
But back then as a kid, $30 was, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get that? So I actually bought most of it I was doing a paper route. I would drop off papers on a bike with a big sack around me. It was crazy. And I would throw papers at people, and I would make barely any money, but I only had $20, I think, or even 15 maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. And my older brother let me borrow the rest. My older brother,
nice.
Mike, he gave me like 10 or 15 bucks towards it. He's like, here you go. And so I bought it, and I literally started beating on it every single fucking day. And I was so bad, and I was annoying everyone around me. All my neighbors heard me all day long. It got to the point where my parents were like screaming at me, like, to stop. And I would only play when they would leave. They would go get milk, or like go to the grocery store, or go do something. And whenever they're gone, I would play the whole time they were gone for hours and hours, along to like music, like actually to like MTV, like really. I mean,
Right.
I played along like Bryan Adams, like Cuts Like a Knife, and then I moved on to like the pinnacle album, the main album that really I played to and learned from. And you could probably, a lot of people could probably tell from my playing, was Shout Out to Devil.
Oh yeah.
From Motley Crue. Yeah. That was the main album that I started playing along to, like Looks That Kill and all those classic old school Motley Crue songs. And that's pretty much because it was like a lot of straightforward hard rock drumming. So I would like learn to that, and it's all about just like learning, separating it, and learning the dexterity with your limbs, and basically counting like math. So it's really odd, because I always tell people that if someone has rhythm, I could probably get them up and running and understanding drums. I was never taught traditionally until later on. Like after I already knew how to play, after I taught myself how to play, I sort of went and took like basic lessons for like maybe, a year or something later on, just to see what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong, and to apply it to my already, self-taught knowledge.
Right.
And so I always tell people that if they have if they have rhythm, because if you don't, you're not going to ever get it.
Right.
Then I could probably get you up and running and understanding how to play drums within a couple hours. And a lot of people are like, huh? How the hell do you do that? It's just a simple breakdown. You know, you basically count out loud, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Actually, we want to go in 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the 1 and the 3, you hit your hand and your foot at the same time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. And on the 2 and the 4, you do the other hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And it's just all about hitting at the same time. So your hand and your leg hit at the exact same time on the 1 and the 3, and your left hand and the hi-hat. So the 1 and would be those would be hitting at the same time. The 1 and the 2 and the at the same time. So it's just like you're hitting every time with the 1, 2, 3, 4 with one hand, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the 1 and the 3, you're hitting with the bass drum, and on the 2 and the 4, you're hitting with the snare. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And that's the basics. And that's just to understand the rhythm, the separation, and the counting. And that's pretty much all of it. If you have rhythm, then you could switch it up, and do different techniques. It's almost like learning a bar chord on a guitar. Once you learn a bar chord, you can go all different areas and do all different bar chords everywhere. Right. But you have to learn it first. You have to learn the basics first, the foundation.
Right.
So that's how it started. That's basically how I started. I saw Kiss. I said, that's what I want to do. I found a piece of crap drum set on the side of the road. I picked it up at a tag sale. I beat the crap out of it. Before that, I was beating up pots and pans and putting on shows in the front of my grandmother's house until I got a drum set, because I made my own drum set with like pots and pans, and cars would drive by and they would beep, and I would be playing the drum, sticking on Peter Criss. And then I met Peter Criss, and he was a complete asshole to me. That's a whole nother story. That's in the book too. That was a really crazy story, actually.
So when we first met was a few years ago, wasn't it Doyle? Were you on tour with Doyle?
No, no, I don't think so. No, I wasn't playing with Doyle. That never even came into fruition. I knew their manager, and that almost happened where I actually drummed for him, which would have been super cool. And I'm still down, to do that if it ever came down to it.
Right. Who were you on tour with when I saw you?
Well, it was either Dead by Wednesday opening maybe for Flotsam and Jetsam or Raven.
Oh,
and
Flotsam
then
Jetsam. Flotsam and Jetsam.
Flotsam and Jetsam. Yeah. Those are my homies.
Yeah,
I love those guys.
Yeah.
Love those guys. Those are one of my favorite people. Eric AK, the singer, is even on one of our albums, Darkest of Angel, with a song called Break When I'm Dead. And it's funny because I'm using that title for the name of my book. So it's going to be, the name of the book is called Break When I'm Dead. And Eric AK from Flotsam and Jetsam actually made that up. And that was a song title on Darkest of Angels, which is an album that we did, which is a guest vocalist album that Dead by Wednesday did, where Dead by Wednesday wrote and recorded all the music. And then we had different guest vocalists, like Brian from Shadows Fall. We had Sean Danielson from Smile Empty Soul, a very eclectic Waylon Revis from Killer's Confession, an ex-Mushroom Head. We had, Rob Dukes from Exodus on there. We had so many people. I mean, John Arch from Fate's Warning did a song. The whole album's named after John Arch's song, Darkest of Angels, is on the album. And that's the title of the album. So many great singers. My cousin's on there, Chesky, Chris Keys, from my old band Gargantua Soul. He's on there. Just so many great singers. Carly Coma from Candiria is on it. It's called Darkest of Angels. It's available streaming everywhere and also downloadable fashion through my own label, which is something we could talk about too. Mindsnap Music, which is distributed through Von Artist. And Von Artist is actually distributed through The Orchard Sony. So if you go online and you go to Apple Music, iTunes, iTunes.
I'm gonna put the links down below.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
everybody will be able to find it.
Very cool. And then like also a Spotify, you name it. You go to any platform, it'll be there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, good. Good.
As
good,
well
good.
as well as many other releases that I'm putting out. It's my solo acoustic stuff, Best Creation, which is all about my son and becoming a father in a crazy rock and roll world.
Yeah.
And then also, the last self-titled Dead by Wednesday album. It's just called Dead by Wednesday, with all like You and I and a bunch of Manimal, a bunch of great songs. That's also available through that same company, my company. And then we have, actually our company, I have a partner who's awesome. Gary Sandler is one of my partners. I also work with Larry from Von Artist. He's another partner in Mindsnap Music. Great people, great team of people. We work with some of the best press people around, like Shauna O'Donnell. We have some great graphic artists. Gary does some of that, as well as Melody Myers, and just some awesome people that I really love and trust and work with to do a lot of great things. And a lot of great things are coming. Like we just put out Bomber Alley. Bomber Alley is a band that features members of Dee Snider's solo band. And has my drum tech Talon Black. He's the mastermind behind the band Bomber Alley, and that's doing really good on the label. Just put it out, and it's actually, Dee Snider himself just tweeted about it, and that's getting a lot of love all over the place, both on radio and press. And now in November we're putting out Stet from Metal Church's solo band Howlin' Hyatt. The Madman's, he used to play with Wasp. And then also Joe Town, who is Gargantuous Soul's producer, and also did the first album for Dead by Wednesday, Democracy is Dead, which is also soon to be coming out. I'm basically putting out all my back catalog through Mindsnap Music, Von Artist, and also my own stuff too, as well as some new bands and some friends and people that I really believe in that have some great names and some retro stuff. Because so far we put out guys from Dee Snider. I got Step from Metal Church coming out in November with Howlin' Hyatt. I have Joe Town, who is going to have the song that Joe Town's putting out has Doodah from Wasp, and also Matt Starr from Ace Frehley is playing on drums on it. He's a monster drummer. And I known him from way back from Connecticut days when he was in a band here that played with Gargantuous Soul, my old band, a lot too in the 90s. So it's the Mindsnap Music thing has been keeping me really busy. I'm actually really enjoying it. I didn't expect to even do any of this. Basically Larry, who works at Von Artist, approached me through buddy Derek from 313 Management. He's also, I gotta thank Derek for hooking me up with Larry. Larry was a fan of Gargantuous Soul. He works with Von Artist, who is distributed through The Orchard Sony. And he said, hey man, I want to help you, help you, and get some of your stuff out. And it's going to be a lot more cut and dry. You're not going to have to deal with third parties. You could do all this stuff yourself. If you could find bands that want to invest in themselves, you could put them out. There's no tricks or hidden messages or any kind of weirdness or BS. It's like a musician putting out a musician. If you're looking for $1 million up front, you ain't going to get that. You got to go find that. First of all, you ain't going to get that anywhere. You got to be a pop artist and 13 years old to even have a chance at that. But I could offer anything that a major artist distro wise can offer. And I know all the right people to promote it as well, and can make that happen through easier ways than going in cold. And, it's just a whole amazing network through the years that has been building and building and building. And again, it's a great team of people that are helping me. So
good. So let me tell you why we started this. I started this whole thing because the COVID lockdowns, we're losing a lot of talent because people are giving up, they're
I get it.
on their music. And I just wanted to get some kind of, inspiration to those people and say, hey man, stop, don't stop doing what you're doing. Just keep doing it. So what would
Don't
you
stop
don't
believing.
so what would you say to these folks that are watching that are like, yeah, man, I'm not making any money. I'm not touring, I'm gonna go flip burgers.
Well,
Well,
if you're in it for just the money, then you might as well stop now. That's my advice. I mean, I luckily have, so I've been lucky enough to be kind of quote unquote grandfathered in, because I was actually in a band from the 90s that was on radio and was on TV and actually got opportunities that a lot of bands can't get nowadays without having to dish out $1 million to people, which is also all in my book, because I'm brutally honest. I talk all about bions and all this bullshit that's plaguing our industry. But
right.
I understand why it's happening, and I don't blame people for doing it. And I've been involved in I know that I've been involved in shady things that I don't even want to be
Associated with.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. You have to almost kind of do that sometimes to be involved with the right people. But at the same time, I try to lessen everything that I do is I want to leave a legacy that is pure, honest, all about the talent and music and positivity if possible. I'm not always positive. I could be a pain. I could be a pain in the ass. I know that. I got OCD to the max, which helps me in some ways and doesn't in others. But
Right.
I'm very thorough. I can be naggy because I want shit to get shit done.
Right.
But you got to be if you're a mover and a shaker and a hustler, you got to do it. And the only way to make it in the business now, and I tell people all the time, this is my advice. The only way to make it now is you have to hustle. You can't do one thing. Like the days of playing in like a Led Zeppelin or a Black Sabbath or a Metallica, where you're doing one thing and that's all you have to do to make money, are gone unless you break it to that level, which
Right.
is very, very, very tough. So what you have to do is kind of what I'm doing. So Dead by Wednesday is more of my heart, more of my passion, more of where I invest more than make. So It's like I'm almost in the red with that band, but it's okay because that's my art, that's my passion, my love. Now I have fun, but I have a lot of fun with the Earth Black Sabbath tribute band, but I also make money at it. So that's in a sense kind of a job where a part-time job where I make a little bit of money there. And then I play in another band that was Ellefson. So Ellefson was a part-time gig where I was a hired gun. I'd go play a bunch of Megadeth tunes and some solo stuff that Ellefson wrote.
Yeah.
And I would go out and I would make some money with that. And that would be another form of income. So now that's been taken over by a band that's similar as of right now to Metal Allegiance called Hail the Horns. Now, Hail the Horns, Hail the Horns is a 3-piece with Tony Campos, who is currently in Static X and Fear Factory, and used to be in a Ministry and Prong, a plethora of metal bands that are awesome.
Right.
And then my boy Mark Rizzo, who used to be in Soulfly and now has recently joined back to El Nino, and also doing this with me. And him and I have been working together for years now. I've been helping him, like the same thing I was saying earlier. You help me, help you, help me. Sharing contacts, co-managing him, co-booking him, his solo career, helping him, and vice versa, him getting me on things. And now I'm playing in a band with him and Tony. And that has taken place. It's more of like a metal cover band. We do a bunch of songs from like all their catalogs and my catalog, plus, bands that we love, like old classic Metallica and along with Soulfly, Sepultura, things that we're associated with, you know what I mean?
Right.
Megadeth. And we go out and do that, and we make a little bit from that. But we have fun, and it's something that we enjoy. If you're not enjoying it, then you shouldn't be doing it. And that's just playing in general. I enjoy. So it doesn't matter what the fuck I'm doing, as long as I'm doing it. And so a little bit goes a long way. So now what I mean by, I have a little bit from there, have a little bit from Earth, have a little bit from, DBW. Then I was doing some solo shit for a while acoustically, but I got sick of that because I felt like a jukebox going out and doing that in bars and people talking over you because you're doing covers and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but then I also host trivia. So it's still entertainment, but it's still supplement money. So I host trivia one night when I'm home and not touring. And then every week. And then like tonight, I'm actually doing it. I actually do it at my bass player from Earth, Eric, Full Circle, his bar that he owns that we're playing next week for a Halloween show with Earth. So it's like, the network is crazy.
So you're saying just diversify and stop focusing on one thing and just spread it out. And
I think so. I think if you want to make a living doing entertainment and music, like I do a lot of TV stuff. I'm an extra on a bunch of TV shows. A lot of times you don't even know it, but I'm there. And sometimes you do a lot of reality. I've been on a bunch of reality shows. I just did something on Nickelodeon that's going to be coming out. I'm doing something. I can't talk about it yet, but I just got confirmed that I'm doing something huge for next year on TV. So I
know that you went down to Florida a couple months ago, 6 months ago, to do something down there. So I knew that you were.
I was playing with Puya. With Puya out there. That was amazing. And we just got back from a 3-week run in Europe with Lord Bishoprox, who is my booking agent out in Europe. And he's also part of the team. And he's coming here to tour acoustic in January. So like I said, one hand washes the other. And that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be about. But too many motherfuckers in this business are all about take, and they never want to give back. And that shit's going to end. That shit's going to end, and it's going to end right here. And I'm definitely going to start. The power tables are going to shift, and people are going to see what happens. It's all about, like I said, the circle of people that you work with, and it's all about taking care of each other. And that's what kind of like, you got me that gig, man. And I always remember that. And the same thing with Anthony. Anthony has hooked me up a million times. Your boy, Anthony, my boy, and you guys work together, and you're both photographers. And that's what it's supposed to be about. It's not, it's not when we were kids, maybe it's about competition, but if that's what you're doing it for, and you're trying to, just walk over people and step on people's backs to get ahead and get to that where you want to be, eventually that person is going to be where you were, because, it's like I've had people do it to me several times. So many people that you might know that are big people. All the stuff's in my book. All the stuff's in my book. All the dirt's in my book. All these things that about the industry, the scumbags that I've ran across, and what they've done, and who they are, and who to stay away from, and what not to do, and how to, like I say, I think you got to believe in yourself to the point where you got to take rejection. You have to be able to take criticism. You can't take it to heart. You have to also work hard. You have to not sleep. You have to hustle. You have to do multiple. You have to wear multiple hats. You have to, never give up. Never, the same, all those cliches. Never give in. Persevere. Those are things that I tell people that want to make it. And you know what? And if they don't, then you might as well get out of the way and make room for people that actually do, that have been struggling and dealing with this their whole life.
Right.
So that way they could do it. They could finally do it for themselves.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Yeah. And I think a lot of the people that I know who are in Seattle area need to hear that as well, because you and I are similar to the idea that we're from back east, and we say things the way we mean them, and we don't hold back.
No sugarcoat.
Out here in Seattle, everybody's afraid to say anything, and and I'm like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, fuck off, and they're like, what the fuck, they don't know how to look at me. They're like, oh my God, this guy's really.
I think honesty really is the best policy sometimes, because if you do too much of that, flip floppy pussyfooting around the subject, I've learned that you can't make people do what they don't want to do. So
Right.
if they're wasting your time, just don't deal with it, man. And you might get some hate for it, but in the long run, you're better off, and they're better
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that really, I tell people all the time, and that's how I know it's either in your blood or it's not. This
Right.
lifestyle is not for everybody. It's not.
Right.
You don't eat. Sometimes you don't eat. Sometimes you're on the road for hours and hours and hours drive, and you don't go. You can't see your family. You can't exercise. Your routine's off. You can't poop for a couple of days. I mean, dude,
Right.
the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not for everybody, but it's either in your blood or it's not. And the fire is always burning for me, right? And some people, they take breaks, or the fire goes out and then they want to do it again. And they're like, oh, it's just a hobby for me, blah, 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 blah. That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's not the same thing as having a lifestyle and
Right.
being a pro touring musician.
Right.
Now, with that being said, my fire has always been there. Now, it hasn't always been burning like it's burning now. The more I see results, the more creative stuff that's going, the more I want to do it.
The more wood you're putting on the fire. Yeah.
Yeah. And the more people that tell me I can't, I love to, shove it in their face. You know what I mean? Like, that's how a lot of my stuff, even Gargantua Soul, that's how that started,
Yeah.
I was thrown out of my old band, and I wanted to show these guys, listen, I can make a better band that's going to kick everyone's ass. And it happened. And it was, that's not the only reason why it happened. All the guys in the band were like, we're working together like a laser beam, and they were hungry, all of them.
Right.
But, the fire, like I said, the fire in me it has gone up and down. It's like a roller coaster in the music business. Like climbing a ladder,
Yeah.
You're not always on top. You're on top, and then you go down, and then you got to start going up again and figuring your way back up and climbing up again. And sometimes it's a slow progress. But the one thing I can say is that although the fire's been up and down throughout my career, it's never gone out. I've never taken a break. The only one time I had to cancel one tour, I think it was a 2-week tour that I booked myself and I was pissed about, was over health issues. And that was the only time in my whole lifetime that I ever missed a show or didn't do a show, was because I physically couldn't do it over health issue. And which got resolved. And now, 3 years ago, I stopped everything. I haven't had a drop of alcohol, and I've been watching everything that I do. I dropped a bunch of weight, and the doctors say that I'm better than I was before I was even sick. And so, that also is a life changer. And, being and having that ability to do that. And a lot of people can't do that,
Right.
So now I just want them more.
Well, thank you so much, Opus. I really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to seeing you out here in Seattle when everything calms down a little bit. Everybody's touring everywhere else except Seattle, and there's very few things going on around here at the time. But
it's funny that you say that, because my brother-in-law lives out there, and he's putting together a music and art festival. I wish I knew the name of it. God, his name is Alex Spinelli. Look him up online. He actually used to work for Google, and he's partially responsible for Alexa. Alex Spinelli.
Wow.
And it's amazing. Yeah.
And have him get in touch with me.
He's starting to get involved in music He's starting to do like festivals, and he's doing art and very like almost like Burning Man style stuff. And
nice.
So he's looking for artists and different bands and stuff from out that way. I gotta get the name of that the festival. Maybe you could post it down below. When you post this up. But so mention that, maybe being that he's from there. He might actually start getting involved in helping me with the Mindset Music label as well. So that's really cool.
Good.
So
good.
But yeah, man.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out this morning. And I'm having some serious allergy problems today, but
thank you, brother.
I appreciate you spending some time with me. So
I thought you were just blowing some lines. I thought you were just blowing some lines while we were doing an interview.
That's what I was afraid it looked like. I was just like, I'll be right back.
That's all good. I'll be right back. It's all good, bro.
I can tell you a really short story about who taught me how to do cocaine, but we're gonna leave that for another time. So
Okay, okay.
But I really appreciate it, Opus. Thank you very much and have an awesome day, man.
You too, man.
All right.
Don't
We'll
kick
see ya.
too many. Don't kick too many people's asses.
Okay.
Later.
We'll see you.